Hey, it's Doug. I hope you're well. We're going to be looking at Beast in the Harlot by Avenged Sevenfold. Now, I'm going to break down this song for you and show you some really interesting creative decisions the band has made in the overall recording of the song, the composition of the song, and hopefully you can take a few different cool ideas and incorporate it in your own music creation. All right, let's first look at the vocals. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is that the song is incredibly heavily layered in terms of how the vocals are written and recorded. So check out the first verse of M. Shadow's singing.
This shining city built of gold, a far cry from innocence. There's more than meets the eye around here. Look to the waters of the deep, a city of evil.
Underneath the main vocal, there is a "This shining city built of gold." That's the lower vocal. On top of "This shining city built of gold." It's mixed together. Have a listen.
This shining city built of gold, a far cry from innocence. There's more than...
Later on in the song, in the bridge of the song, they actually use the same type of layering, but this time with a higher falsetto line. Let me show you that.
The day has come for all our sinners. If you're not a servant, you'll be struck to the ground. Flee the burning, greedy city. Looking back on us here, there's nothing around.
So this is quite an interesting layer because on its own, let me tell you, it would sound quite strange to hear a singer doing a falsetto that high by itself. So here's an example. The day has come for all the sinners. It doesn't really sound musical on its own, but as you can see, in the context of the vocal layering underneath the day has come for all the sinners, the day has come for all the sinners, mixed together like a sandwich, laid together, it sounds just fine, and it adds that cool element that the band's looking for. So this is something to keep in mind when you are writing any type of music, really. Sometimes the layer that you need in your music, usually with a vocal, doesn't necessarily sound good on its own, but it adds to the entire, spectrum and elements of the music. The final thing we're going to be looking at with the vocals is the chorus.
She's a dwelling place for demons. She's a gauge for every unclean spirit, every filthy bird, and makes us drink her poison wine to fornicating with our kings. Falling now is Babylon the Great.
This main melody has a harmony over it, and that harmony is in thirds. Okay. So basically, the first note starts on F, and then the first harmony starts on A. And the melody sounds like this. She's a dwelling place for demons. And the harmony sounds like this. She's a dwelling place for demons. And what the band has chosen to do is every other note matches the main melody with the third interval, except for that last word, demons. It stays on one note, F, F. Demons! Whilst the main melody goes, demons. And I want to outline this to you because this is quite common. So if you break down different melodies and different harmonies in a lot of different music, a lot of different songs, you'll notice that oftentimes the harmony follows a kind of pattern and remains, at a certain interval for a majority of a melody, and then sometimes can sustain on one note. In this case, it goes, demons, right? It doesn't go, demons, or something like that. Sometimes you can actually sustain a certain note, especially in the harmony, and that will complement the main melody even more. It can sound better. I guess if you stick to the same interval of the harmony all the time, it could sound monotonous and boring, and it just creates interest in the song. So one of the more interesting aspects of this song is that the introduction and the first verse are actually in two different keys. So the first verse is where M Shadow starts singing along to that main iconic riff, you know, the... Right? And that first section of the song, that is in a different key. So I'll play along to the intro now, and I'll try to make it obvious where the key changes. If I play you the first chord of the song and compare that to, it will be more obvious. So check this out. They're two different keys. Now, the introduction and the outro of the song are actually the same section. So if you know the song well, the outro of the song is down, down, do, 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 do. Again, that plays again. But again, they're in different keys. This section and the rest of the song, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, they're in two different keys. So what the band actually had to do was, on the final chorus of the song, do a key change, and they modulated higher. And that allowed them to get back to the same key that the song started in. So I'll play you a clip of that now, and you'll hear it. So that's quite interesting. So what this shows us is that Avenged Sevenfold have used multiple keys in this song, and the key that they started the song with, they didn't go back to it throughout the entirety of the song, but at the end, they've chosen to go back to it and have used a modulation or a key change throughout it to get back to that original key. This shows us that you can do this in your own music, and if you decide to change keys halfway through a song, it is actually possible to get back to that original key you started in, as long as you make these creative decisions to get back there. Okay, let's have a look at the bass guitar. Check out this clip of Johnny Christ playing in the chorus, and listen to how he plays the root notes and then adds all of these extra notes to it. Check it out. Right, so this section of the song goes something like this. And then all of the extra notes that he plays go something like this. And then the other fill. So what Johnny Christ is actually doing, he's adding notes from the scale, the D minor scale, into his playing to make it more interesting. So when he plays this riff, all of those notes except one is found within the D minor scale. The note that makes it interesting is this one. So it goes, right? That's called an accidental. That means that you're using a note outside of the key. And other than that note, all of the notes that he's chosen to do in that fill is a part of the key. And this section, all of those notes are found in the key. So when you're trying to make your bass lines more interesting, you can do what Johnny Christ did, which is, yes, of course, most of the time you might play just the root note, which is just, the first note of a chord. But then to make it more interesting, you can absolutely add extra notes from the key that you were in. And then tastefully done, the way that Johnny Christ did it, you can add accidentals, which are notes outside of the key as well. But, there's a bit less, you could only do those infrequently. All right? So basically, learn about keys and understand how those notes fit into your bass lines. Okay, so let's have a quick look at some interesting things that the drums are doing. So we all know that the Rev was an amazing drummer, but one of the coolest things I think about Avenged Sevenfold from this era is that they took punk influences and mixed it with their hard rock and metal sound, right? And this is very evident in this drum beat that I'm about to show you. So I'm just going to show you a clip from the breakdown that Avenged Sevenfold themselves recorded, and check out the Rev playing this specific part and the punk rock styling of his drum beat.
It's the money beat.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not exactly how you would play, but I know he was very influenced by you, especially from the punk thing. So a lot of metal upbeat stuff would sound like do-bap, ba-ba-bap, boop-bap, ba-ba-bap, boop-bap, but this do-bap, ba-bap, boop-bap, boop-bap. This has a more...
So yeah,
Instead of playing a metal part for this,
Right.
This is punk.
This is punk.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. But to
No,
me,
you're absolutely right.
So what the Rev's drum part shows us is that it's possible to take influences from other genres, other drum beats potentially, and incorporate it into musical styles that don't typically have that beat. So you watching this, when it comes to whatever type of music you want to create, don't be afraid to take influences from, potentially other genres and copy the kind of, feel and rhythms that music uses and try to use it in your music. Like you could take influence from jazz music and put it in your hard rock. You could take influence from, different Latin American type beats and try putting it in other contemporary music. Basically, don't be afraid to use rhythms from other styles and incorporate it into whatever you're trying to create. Okay, so let's talk about what the guitars are doing. So I could go on and on. Probably it deserves its own video talking about how much of a talented guitar player Sinister Gates is, right? But I'm going to focus on just the chorus for this section. And I'm going to show you how he actually plays these arpeggios over the basic chord progression. The chord progression goes something like this. You heard that when I played the bass earlier. And the lead guitar goes and then keeps following along to the chords. Have a listen. So the reason I think this is interesting is because if you told me that you were just going to play an arpeggio typically sounds like, or in a minor key, I would actually say like, wow, that sounds like it could be pretty corny or sound a little bit funny. But Sinister Gates in this song made it actually sound really cool and it worked very well. So what that shows me and what we can learn from this is that sometimes running up and down an arpeggio could actually sound really cool as a lead line. So let's say if I had a few different chords here, let's do a chord progression. D minor, C major, B flat major. You could actually do a similar sort of pattern. not saying that you should rip off, Beast and the Harlot or anything like that, but the idea of playing arpeggios is quite interesting because you could play it backwards, for example. Or maybe you could change up the pattern. You could go. I'm just messing around with it. But I got this idea just by listening to Sinister Gate's lead guitar playing in the chorus of Beast and the Harlot. So I wanted to point this out to you. It's a really interesting section. It really is quite a fascinating lead line. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this exploration of the song Beast and the Harlot. If you haven't already, check out the breakdown that Avenged Sevenfold made themselves. It's right here on YouTube. It's like a 3-part series. And I took some of the ideas that I've shared with you from that video, but I also added, my own opinions and 2 cents because I wanted to show you how you can take inspiration from your favorite artists and then, learn from the decisions that they've made, the creative decisions that they've made, and write better music and get better outcomes with your own songwriting. So, yep, I hope that I was able to achieve that in this video. If you have any recommendations of song breakdowns that you'd like, leave a comment below, give this video a like, and subscribe if you hadn't already. And if you'd like to work alongside me, you can go to the link in the description below. It's my website. And yeah, right there you can learn how to transform your singing voice and learn how to record and write the music that you've been really wanting to create. All right, with that said, I'll see you in the next video and we'll talk soon.